elasticity of 1 is still elastic. Okay, so if we had to say, well, is it inelastic or elastic, we're going to put it on the elastic side of the ledger, right? So we would still consider this elastic. So let's say, let's go with pink. Let's throw another. All right, that's supposed to be at 6, by the way. All right, call that P3, right? And this was 6 and 60. All right, that would be predictable. And if we went to 7, it would be 40, etc. You kind of get the idea. Okay, so a lot of linearity there. Okay, but unit elasticity, it's basically kind of a 1-for-1 split over time, and I just barely got it on the demand curve there. Okay, so that's 2. All right, that's 2 graphs, and you can kind of imagine how many more that we're gonna take a look at. So let's go ahead and clean it up. Okay. All right, now, it's the same thing here, right? Still price, still quantity, we'll go 20s out. Okay, we'll change things a little bit. All right, we're going to start out with 4 and 100. Let me go with blue. Okay, now let's go with a little bit of red here. Okay, now we're going to move it. That one's another good red marker. All right. Okay. And this is going to be 5 and 50. All right. If I were to draw the demand curve, all right, notice that sucker got a lot flatter, didn't it? Okay, and if you think about it, let's go ahead and put the other direction in. Let's put the force in, if you will. All right, 2 arrows this time. Okay, look at the change in quantity demanded for just that $1 increase, right, in price. We cut demand in half. So you can imagine, all right, let's go with blue to stay consistent here. This is clearly elastic demand. And if we calculated the elasticity of demand, it would be greater, right, than 1. It would clearly be greater than 1. Okay, I mean, look at this. $1 change compared to the other graphs we've looked at. Just a mere $1 and change, and then whoo, you cut demand in half, right? So an economist will look at this and he's like, wow, something's really going on. This must be a really significant increase in the minds of consumers to the point where they're ready to get out of this, which means there's probably a lot of close substitutes, right? Things that work, relatively close in price, right? Easy to get, that kind of thing, butter and margarine. You get the idea. Okay. All right. Okay, so let's do another one. Oh, there's my black. Okay, again, quantity, price. Sometimes it's just best to clean these things up a little bit. $60, $80, and $100. Okay. Start out in the same place. $4 and $100. Okay. All right, now let's go with red. I think, is this my bad? That's the bad one. Yeah, real quick. There we go. Okay, now we're going to do something a bit different. All right, I'll just go ahead and write that number in. All right, there's the force. We moved it up. Okay, and just to stay consistent, right? That point is 5 and 90. So essentially, all right, you raised the price, but you didn't change demand really all that much, right? You raised the price, but you didn't change demand that much, right? So essentially, I'll go ahead and stick with blue here. This would be considered inelastic demand. All right, and then demand, excuse me, the elasticity of demand, if you were to calculate it, would essentially be less than 1. Okay? All right, pretty simple. Okay, so again, think about what we've done, right? We increased the price, and if you think about it, going from $4 to $5, that's actually a 25% increase, right? That's a 25% increase in price, but you sure as heck didn't reduce demand by, right, 25%. In fact, you only reduced it by 10%, okay? And, you know, we could just go ahead and draw on the demand curve, right? Okay, no big deal, right? So now you've seen 4, right? You've seen a vertical line, right? Things have gotten a little flatter, right? And you can kind of imagine where we're headed next. Okay, okay. This is obviously the easiest one to draw. All right. Go back to where we were. Gives you a little bit of time to kind of fill things in. Still quantity demanded. Still price. Right? Pretty simple. Okay. Now, this is probably the easiest one we're going to draw. There's your demand curve, right? So the idea is and we'll go ahead and just for the heck of it, we'll say this goes out to infinity, right? Okay, so if that's the case, basically what we have is perfect elastic demand, okay? Excuse me. Okay. So essentially, it would work goes all the way out to infinity. Okay. So again, you've got this price, right? That's more or less just kind of stuck at 4, right? And the quantity demanded, right, could go all the way out to infinity. All right. Okay. So that's probably the easiest curve that we're going to draw. Okay. All right. Now, what I want to do next, excuse me, still just a little out of the weather, so sorry for the sneeze. Okay. All right. Is take a look at total revenue, all right? And I just want to draw one in, and we'll see where we are after that. Okay, so I'm going to draw the curve. I want the formula in all at the same time, okay? So we're going to go with the same graph that we've been looking at, all right? 0 to 6. It's fun drawing these graphs, isn't it? Okay, all right, now, and let's go back to that original point we had was 4, 100. Actually, you know, technically we would graph this the other way around, right? Because this is your x-axis, it's your y-axis, but it really doesn't matter. But we'll go ahead and throw that in, right? Okay, now, We'll leave that up at the same time we're putting our formula up here. Okay, now total revenue, all right, TR, all right, total revenue is essentially nothing more than price times quantity, right? Now, a couple things about this, right? We've agreed on the price, right? It's at $4. So in fact, we'll just go ahead and, let me go to blue here. All right, we'll pencil that in at P1, and we'll just go ahead and throw this in at Q1 too. Okay, couple things. We're assuming, by the way, the total revenue includes price. We've all agreed on, as I just mentioned, $4, and the quantity we're selling all of it, right? So we know that if, on our demand curve, imagine where it would be. This is a point on the demand curve. You're making 100, you're going to sell it at $4. You're fine. It's the market clearing price. We're fine. That kind of thing. Notice, however, we're not including cost here, right? It's just total revenue. I didn't say total profit, which would have to include the cost. This is just total revenue, all right? So let's say I go ahead and put in our demand curve. In fact, I'm going to use a little maroon here. Okay, just assume that's on the line, right? There's your demand curve. Okay, now let's shade this zone in. Let's go ahead and shade that sucker in. All right? Okay, now if you think about it, right, let's go ahead and play this out. If the price is 4, we're selling 100, right? That's 100, or I'm sorry, that's 400, right? Now, we spent a little time kind of talking about geometry a couple days ago, which was kind of fun, right? So the idea, if we're looking at the area, let's imagine this is all one big profit area, and this, more or less a rectangle, right? Base times height, that's all we've done, right? That's it. I mean, it's almost magical, right? It's just base times height. That's all we've done, okay? Now, we would assume, right, that if I changed this, right, let me give you a little table here. Let's say, I'll tell you what, we'll do this. Price, and let's say quantity, right? And let's say I went $5 on the price, and you'd sell 90, $4, we already know, at 100, and 3 at 110, right? So let's say that's kind of what we're looking at, right? So, let's go with a little dark brown here. Okay, so we know at 5, it would be 90, right? Just because there's your schedule. All right, and we can call this P2 if you want, it really doesn't matter. Okay, and let's go with the light blue here. All right, and 3 at 110, so I got to put in 110 here. Actually, I'll put in 120 and just, let me use another color here. Let's go with some orange. All right, okay. Okay, it's going to be 110. We can call this P3. It really doesn't matter. Okay. All right, so in fact, I'll just go ahead. This is 3 and 110. Brown is 5 and 9. And we're just looking at this schedule. I mean, that's all we've done. I mean, we haven't done anything special. We're just kind of mirroring that schedule. Okay, now, what you want to see, right, is that, well, we had that first, right, zone. In fact, let me curve that back so it's just real clear that it's within that zone. So let's say, right, we were to look at this zone. I'll tell you what, just to make things easier, I'm going to call this zone 2. All right, this green is zone 1. Okay, and essentially, this is the extra profit, right, that you're getting, right? I'm sorry, not profit. I shouldn't have said that. The extra total revenue that you're getting, right, by moving your price up 5 to 90, okay? But notice, right, 2 would include at least this part of 1, right? Now we won't mark it up too much, but let's say, for instance, I did something like this, right? That's the profit zone, okay? Now, for this point here, right, price of 3 and 110, right? It's getting a little nasty here, a little dirty. But you can kind of see, right? So essentially, let me go this way. That would be 330. This we already know is 400, right? And I think I did this with brown, right? And that would be 450. So if you think about it, if you're working in-house and you're in marketing and you're working with the economists, right? The marketing people will be working for the economists, of course, right? Okay. All right. But you would be better off going ahead and doing this, right? Now, remember what you already know about consumer surplus, right? By raising your price, you're clearing out some consumers that can't afford it, right? But hey, if you look at these numbers, right? What do you care? Right? By increasing that price, maybe you've cut out some of these people, right, on the demand curve, but you've been able to gain, right, some over here. Okay? Okay, so just another way to look at it. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll stop there, all right? And we'll pick up with this stuff on Monday. So again, we got a little bit left in consumer surplus, producer surplus, and market efficiency. Just a couple things I want to iron out. And then we will start, after we get that done, we'll go ahead and pick up with looking at the rest of this chapter, and we'll be able to get into elasticity of supply. All right? So see you Monday.